This is Soul Signal, where the soul comes to rest. My name is Patrice. In a moment, a story will begin. You don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to remember it, or carry it, or learn from it. Only let it move through you, the way water moves through open hands. You found your way here. That's the last thing tonight will ask of you. Wherever you are, the bed, the couch, the chair you always end up in, you don't have to arrange yourself any particular way. However you're lying is right. However you're breathing is right. There's no version of this hour you can do wrong. And there's no finish line at the end of it. If you sleep before I stop talking, that's not leaving early. That's the whole idea. Tonight isn't going to teach you anything. I want to say that now at the door. Something is going to become clear. That's different. Teaching asks you to hold still and take notes. Clarity just arrives, the way a room comes into focus when your eyes adjust to the dark. You don't have to reach for it. You don't have to remember it in the morning. It will still be true in the morning, whether you remember it or not. So let the day end here. Whatever you did today, it's done being your responsibility. Whatever you said or didn't say or said wrong, the replaying can stop at this door. It doesn't have to stop because you force it to. It stops because there's nothing in this room for it to work on. And if you came in carrying something tonight, a conversation that sat wrong, a heaviness with no name yet, or just the ordinary weight of a long day, you don't have to put it anywhere in particular. Set it down inside the door. Things set down inside this door have a way of weighing less by morning. Not gone, just lighter. The way everything is lighter once it's been allowed to sit somewhere overnight. Just this hour now. Just the dark and this voice and you, finally off duty. Start with the weight of you, not the day's weight, the actual weight, the physical fact of a body lying down. The bed has already accepted all of it. It did that the moment you lay down, without being asked, and it hasn't gotten tired since. Notice that you are not holding yourself up right now. Something else is doing it. That's been true this whole time. Let your eyes rest first. They've been reading all day. Screens, faces, rooms, the weather of other people. Behind closed lids, there's nothing left to read. Let the small muscles around them go slack, the ones that squint and check and narrow. Let your forehead be smooth, not because you smoothed it, just because nothing is asking it to hold an expression anymore. Your jaw next. There's usually something held there. Words that got edited before they came out, the shape of things you decided not to say. The jaw keeps the drafts. Let it unclench, teeth apart, tongue heavy. The drafts can be deleted unsent tonight. Nobody's waiting on them. Your neck and shoulders, wherever they've climbed to, can start their slow trip down. Not all at once. Shoulders come down the way evening comes, gradually, and then it's just dark, and you can't say exactly when that happened. Let it happen at that speed. Your arms are empty. Notice that. Whatever they carried today, bags, laundry, a child, a phone, the invisible things, they're carrying none of it now. Arms at rest are just weight. Let them be just weight. Your hands too, open or curled, it doesn't matter. Hands with no task left in them tonight. Your chest rises and falls without your help. It's been doing that since before you could think, and it will keep doing it after you stop thinking tonight. Your belly can be soft. There's no one here it needs to hold a shape for. Somewhere behind you, the long muscles along your spine are still holding a posture nobody's watching anymore. All day they kept you upright, kept you composed, kept the shape of a woman who has it together. The bed doesn't need that shape. Let your back widen into the mattress, one slow inch at a time, the way ground softens after rain. Nothing dramatic, just a gradual giving of weight to something that wants it. And your legs, the long weight of them, and your feet, which carried you through every room of this day and have now officially arrived at the last one. Let them be done, heavy, warm, still, done. Notice the warmth wherever you have it, the blanket, the room, your own body, making its quiet heat. You don't have to earn warmth tonight. It's not a reward for a day well handled. It's just here, the way it's here for everyone who lies down. No application required, no review of how the day went. And let the day itself start leaving your body. It leaves the way guests leave, a little at a time, some of it lingering at the door. The conversation from this afternoon, the thing you're supposed to remember for tomorrow, the face you couldn't quite read. They'll all file out on their own if you stop hosting them. You're off the clock. The door is open. They know the way. The whole length of you, lying in the dark, held up by something that doesn't get tired. That's where we start. Now the breath, and I mean the one you already have, not a better one. You don't have to deepen it or count it or fix it. Just find it, the way you'd notice rain on the roof. It was already falling. You're just listening now. If it wants to slow down, it will do that on its own in the next few minutes. Breath is like an animal that way. It settles when the room settles, not when it's told to. Feel where the breath actually lives in you right now. High in the chest maybe. That's where it sits when a day has asked a lot. It doesn't have to move, but as the minutes pass, you might notice it drifting lower on its own, down toward the belly, the way water finds the low ground when nothing is stirring it. You're not doing that. You're just no longer preventing it. Each exhale is the body's oldest way of saying done. You say it dozens of times a minute without meaning to. Let a few of them mean it tonight. In, receiving. Out, done. In, receiving. Out, done. With a little more of the day. There's a kind of watchfulness you've probably carried all day, most days really. The part of you that monitors how you're coming across, how they're reacting, whether you've said too much, whether the air in the conversation just changed. It's a hard-working part. It's been reading rooms for years. There is no room to read here. I want the watchful part of you to hear that directly. There's no face in the dark to check, no tone to interpret, no reaction to brace for. Nothing you say inside your own head tonight can land wrong because there's no one for it to land on. The watcher can sit down. It doesn't have to sleep if it's not ready. It can just sit down the way a guard sits down when the gate is finally closed for the night. Let the next exhale be a little longer than the inhale, not forced, just permitted. And again, in easy, out a little longer, sinking a little further into the bed. Thoughts will keep arriving. Let them. They're like mail for someone who's moved away. They'll keep coming for a while, and you don't have to open a single one. You do not have to obey every thought that arrives. Let them come and let them go, while the body underneath them gets heavier. Listen to the room for a moment. Whatever small sounds live in it, the house settling, air moving, the far-off hum of the world running without you. None of it needs anything from you. The night has been managing itself for a very long time. Tonight, it will manage you too. All you have to do is keep breathing at whatever speed the breath chooses, and let the bed do the rest of the work. Heavy is good tonight. Heavy is the body believing it's allowed to stay. There's a sentence you've been carrying. I don't know when you picked it up. You probably don't either. It's been that long. But I know its shape because so many women are lying in the dark tonight holding the same one. I'm too much. Maybe it doesn't use those exact words in you. Maybe it says too intense, too sensitive, too deep, too emotional, too serious, too many feelings, too much heart. But underneath the wording, it's the same verdict, and it was handed down so long ago, you've stopped questioning the trial. You know how it operates. It's there after conversations, in the replay, that reflex of going back over what you said, measuring whether it was more than the moment wanted. It's there in the apology that arrives before anyone asked for one. Sorry, that was a lot. It's there in the editing, how you've learned to give the short version, the light version, the version with the depth trimmed off, because somewhere along the way, you concluded that the full version is more than people can take. And here's the evidence the verdict always points to. The times you didn't trim it. The times you handed someone the whole thing, the real feeling, the actual depth of you, and you watched it be too heavy for them. Maybe they changed the subject. Maybe they went quiet in a way that wasn't listening. Maybe they got smaller in front of you, or turned the conversation somewhere shallower, or loved you a little more carefully after that. And every one of those moments went into the file. Proof. Too much. Case closed. You know the small moments too, the ones nobody else would even register. A table full of people, a conversation going along on its easy surface, and you say one true thing, one layer deeper than the talk was running, and there's that half beat, that tiny recalibration in the air. Someone smiles and says something kind and steers it back to the shallow end, and nothing bad has happened, nothing anyone could name, and you spend the rest of the evening a size smaller. Or the people who said it almost fondly, like a compliment with a warning folded inside. You think too much. You're so deep. You feel everything, don't you? Said with a laugh, said with love even, and filed every time in the same place the verdict lives. And somewhere along the way, you learned the safest shape to take in a conversation: the asker, the one who draws other people out and offers little back, generous, attentive, warm, and never at risk of being more than the moment wanted, because you'd stopped bringing the part that might be. So you did what anyone would do with a verdict like that. You started shrinking the evidence, giving less, sharing less, feeling just as much, but showing a portion, being easy to carry, because being your whole size had a cost. That's the sentence. That's how it runs your nights and edits your days. And you've been assuming all this time that the sentence was about you. And maybe something just moved in you. One specific evening surfacing on its own. One face, one moment you handed something over and watched what happened to it. You don't have to do anything with it. Just notice that your chest already suspects something your mind hasn't been told yet. Stay with me, because the sentence isn't about you. Think about what actually happened in those moments, not what you concluded, what happened. You handed someone something real, something with weight to it, your grief, your depth, your love at full strength, the true size of your inner life. You put it in their hands, and their hands couldn't hold it. That's the whole event. That's everything that occurred. Something heavy was offered, and the hands it was offered to weren't able to carry it. But in the half second after, in that terrible little silence where they changed the subject, a conclusion got drawn, and it got drawn in the wrong direction. The verdict came down on the thing being handed over, instead of on the hands doing the receiving. You were never too much. You were handing your heart to people who didn't have the hands for it. Hear the difference. Not people who didn't love you. That's not what this is. Some of them may have loved you with everything they had. But carrying what's deep in another person takes a certain kind of hands that have held their own weight first. And some people have never done that, not because they're bad, because it costs something, going down into your own depths, and they never paid it. They keep their own grief in a drawer they don't open. They change the subject on themselves. They've spent a whole life at a safe distance from their own deep water. So when you arrived with yours, of course they stepped back. They weren't stepping back from you. They were stepping back from depth itself, the way they always have, including their own. A person can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. That's not a judgment of them. It's closer to a fact of nature. And that's the answer to the question you've carried since long before tonight. Not why doesn't anyone love me? They do. The other one. Why was there nowhere to put the whole of it? Because love and capacity were never the same thing, and you kept mistaking one for a promise of the other. So look, gently, no blame in the room tonight, not even for you, at what you've been doing all these years. You were reading their arms giving out and calling it your heaviness. It was never your size. It was their hands. But there's one more layer under this, and it deserves to be touched, softly, just once, because it explains why the verdict lasted so long. Somewhere in you, blaming yourself was easier. And not because you like blame, because of what the blame let you keep. If the problem was your size, think about it, then the problem was fixable. You could shrink. You could edit, soften, apologize, try again smaller. If you were too much, then somewhere out there was a version of you that would finally be right. And every one of those relationships stayed possible. The verdict was a kind of hope, a hard, punishing hope, but hope. Because the other explanation, the true one, meant something lonelier. That some of the people you love were never going to be able to hold you, no matter what size you became. That there was nothing to fix because nothing about you was broken. You couldn't have carried that then, so you carried "I'm too much" instead, because at least that verdict left you something to do. And it kept you auditioning. Every new friendship, every new closeness, somewhere underneath a quiet retrial. Maybe this time, if I pace myself. Maybe this time, if I start small. All that careful management, all those years of presenting the acceptable portion first. That was the verdict keeping its promise. Keep working on your size, and someday you'll fit. It was never going to pay out, but you couldn't have known that. You were doing honest work on a debt that was never yours. So here's the question, and you don't have to answer it. Just let it rest in the dark next to you. All those years of making yourself smaller, was anyone ever actually able to hold more of you because of it? Let it have all the room it needs. Nothing in this hour is waiting behind it. You don't have to go looking through the past tonight. If an answer rises, let it rise. If it doesn't, the question will wait. It's a patient question. It's been waiting years already. So here is what you're allowed tonight. Not forever. Tonight makes no claims on tomorrow. Just for this one night in this one dark room, you're allowed to put the verdict down. The sentence you've carried, too much, too intense, too deep. You can set it on the floor beside the bed like a heavy coat, because tonight you finally read the label on it, and it was never yours. It has someone else's hands written all over it. You've been carrying a description of their limits and wearing it as a description of you. You're allowed to stop shrinking for the length of this night. There's no one here to be a smaller portion for. Feel what that's like, even for a few breaths, being your entire size in a room that isn't strained by it. The dark doesn't find you intense. The bed isn't overwhelmed by you. Your breath can fill the whole room without apologizing for the space it takes. And be fair to the whole picture, because clarity should be fair. Some hands in your life have held real pieces of you and held them well. The friend who stayed on the phone, the one who came when it mattered. Hands that couldn't take the whole weight, but carried what they could, faithfully, for years. Tonight doesn't erase any of that. Seeing what certain hands couldn't hold makes what other hands did hold more remarkable, not less. Some people have been carrying their 10 pounds of you with everything they've got. That was love operating at full capacity. It counts. It has always counted. And you're allowed to keep loving them, That matters, so hear it clearly. Nothing that became clear tonight asks you to love anyone less, or to gather up old moments and rejudge anybody by them. No one was put on trial tonight, you least of all. Their hands are the hands they have. Most of them were doing the best they could with what they'd never faced in themselves. Understanding why they couldn't carry you can live in the same heart that loves them. Both have been living in you anyway. Now they can stop fighting. And if there's relief somewhere in your chest right now, a loosening you didn't authorize, something in you quietly saying, "Oh, it wasn't me," you're allowed to just have that. Don't inspect it. Don't ask whether you're sure. Relief doesn't need a permit. It's been standing outside a long time, waiting for the verdict to come off. And tonight, the door's open. Let it sit anywhere it likes. What you don't have to do tonight is decide anything. Not who gets more of you, not who gets less, not what to say or change or try. Clarity isn't a to-do list. It's just the room coming into focus, and you're allowed to simply lie here in the middle of it, seeing clearly, doing nothing at all about it. Every question that clarity raises, and it may raise a few in the coming days at its own speed, every one of them can stay a question until you're rested. Nothing you saw tonight will spoil. True things keep. Just a woman in the dark who was never too much, whose heart was always the right size, who handed it sometimes to people who couldn't carry it, and who tonight, for one night, isn't handing it anywhere at all. It can stay home. It can just lie here with you, whole, unweighed, unjudged, resting its full weight on a bed that can take it. I was never too much. I was handing my heart to people who couldn't carry it. Let that be the last thing the day taught you. Everything from here is just rest. Nothing new is coming now. Everything that needed to be said tonight has been said, and it went better than these things usually go. No one was blamed. Nothing was broken. A verdict got read one last time and set down, and that's all. The coat is on the floor beside the bed. It can stay there. You don't have to hang it up. You don't have to decide what to do with it tomorrow. You don't have to check on it in the night. It held its shape all these years without your help. It can hold it there on the floor until morning. And if morning comes and you pick it up again out of habit, that's all right too. It will weigh less. Things always weigh less once you've seen whose name is written inside them. Old verdicts don't leave all at once. They leave the way a room cools after the fire's out, by degrees, overnight, while nobody's watching. You may hear the old sentence again this week, in its old voice, at its old moments. That's not failure. That's just the echo taking its time. You'll notice something different though. It won't close the case anymore. Somewhere in you, from tonight on, there's a quiet second voice with the correction. You don't have to argue with the echo. The correction does its own work now. Come back to the body now. The breath has gotten slower since we started. You didn't do that. It just happened, the way it always happens when a room turns out to be safe. Let it keep going the direction it's going. Slower now, softer now, nothing to keep up with. Your hands are still empty. All night they'll be empty. Whatever they're used to holding, someone else's everything, the weight of being careful, none of it is here. Just warm, heavy hands, resting on a woman who was always the right size. And your heart, you can feel it if you go quiet enough, that steady work in the dark of the chest. Your heart doesn't know anything about verdicts. It never did. All those years the sentence was running, your heart just kept being its actual size, beating at its actual depth, faithful as weather. It never once made itself smaller. Something in you always knew better than the verdict did. It's the same something resting now, under your hand's warmth if your hand is near it, needing nothing, proving nothing, just going on. Let a slow wave move through you now, from the top down, and you don't have to do anything to help it. It knows the way. Your scalp first and your forehead, smooth, uncreased, no expression left to hold. The small muscles around your eyes, done reading for the day, going soft at the corners. Your eyelids resting shut with their own small weight, not squeezed, just landed. Your jaw loose, your tongue heavy in your mouth, your throat quiet, no edited sentences waiting in it, no smaller versions of anything. Whatever's in your throat can just be breath now. Your shoulders, all the way down now, as far as they go, and then further on the next exhale. There's always a little more they were saving. Your arms, so heavy they're starting to feel like they belong to the bed. Your hands, let them be someone else's job tonight, the bed's job, the night's job, not yours. Your chest, rising and falling on its own schedule. Your heart in there, doing its work in the dark, unweighed, unjudged, home. Notice how the chest doesn't brace anymore between breaths. That small, held instant at the top of the inhale, the one you've probably carried for years without knowing. Softening now, letting the breath turn around on its own. Your belly, round and soft and unguarded, moving like slow water. Your hips heavy, your thighs heavy, your knees, your calves, the long bones of your shins, everything going down like sand settling in still water, finding the bottom, resting there. And your feet, last of all, your feet, warm, finished, nowhere left to carry anyone, including you. The bed is doing the carrying now, the whole length of you, and it isn't straining, and it won't get tired, and it never once needed you to be lighter. Rest there a moment, the whole of you, top to bottom, softened in one slow pass. If any place refused, if the shoulders crept back up, if the jaw found its old grip, the wave will come through again in a while. It always comes through again. Nothing has to be finished on the first pass tonight. Not softening, not you. We're never too much. You can hear it differently now than you could an hour ago. An hour ago, it was an argument. Now it's just true. The way the dark is true. The way the weight of the blanket is true. Some things stop needing to be believed and just become the temperature of the room. Their hands were their hands. Your heart was your heart. Those were never the same measurement, and the mix-up wasn't yours to fix. And tonight, nobody is fixing anything. The whole question is lying on the floor now, and the night is very long, and none of it needs you. Breathe out and sink a little. Somewhere in these last few minutes, your body started believing it before your mind finished. Bodies do that. They're quicker about the truth. The looseness in the shoulders is belief. The slow breath is belief. You can let the body carry it for both of you tonight. The right size. You've been the right size this whole time. The room is in focus now. That's all clarity ever was. Not a lightning bolt, not a lesson. Just the furniture of your own life becoming visible in the dark. The shapes were always there. Now you can see where everything actually stands, and nothing in the room is where the old verdict said it was. And you don't have to do anything about it. Seeing clearly is not a chore list. It's more like the moment after rain stops. You don't go out and do something about the rain having stopped. You just notice the quiet and stay where you're warm. Your heart is staying home tonight, not because the doors are locked, because it's resting. There's a difference, and the difference is the whole point. And even the difference doesn't matter this late. Heavy, warm, home. And home is enough of a place for it. It doesn't need to be out looking for hands tonight, and it doesn't need to grieve the hands it tried. That's another night's work, if it's anyone's. Tonight, it just gets to be what it always was underneath all the measuring. A strong, deep, faithful thing, off duty, in the dark, keeping only its own time. Notice what your body is doing right now without being told. The breath, slow and low. The hands, open. The shoulders, down. Somewhere in the last little while, you stopped bracing. You couldn't say when. That's how it leaves, not with a decision. It just forgets to hold on, the way you forget a word in a language you stopped needing. If any part of you is still holding, a shoulder, the jaw, that small guard behind the chest, you don't have to send it away. It's been protecting a woman it believed was too much for the world. It was wrong about that, but it was loyal. And loyal things stand down slowly. Let each breath tell it the news again, gently. In. Nothing here needs a smaller version. Out. Nothing here is straining to hold you. It can keep hearing that all night, as many times as it needs, from a voice softer than mine, the breath saying it now, over and over, without words. Quicker and quieter than before, just checking the rooms. Face soft, throat quiet, Shoulders down, arms heavy, belly slow, legs long and done. Wherever it passes, a little more weight goes over to the bedside of things. There's less and less of the day left to hold. Soon there will be none, and you won't notice the moment it happens. And that's exactly how it should go. The bed has your whole weight, every pound of you, every year of you, every unedited inch, held without effort until morning. Somewhere out in the dark, the people you love are sleeping too, their hands resting, holding what their hands can hold. You can love them from here, at this distance, in this quiet, without carrying a single thing for any of them until the sun is up. Love doesn't need you awake to keep existing. It keeps itself, like the night does. Never too much, just far to carry, for hands that never learned. And no one is carrying anything now. Everything, everyone, set down till morning. The verdict is off. The room is in focus, and the focus is going soft now at the edges, the way rooms do when sleep starts leaning in. If the mind drifts back over tonight, let it drift the way you trail a hand in water from a boat, the hands touched and released. None of it has edges anymore. Heavy is the body believing it's allowed to stay, and you're allowed. You've been allowed this whole time. Just the breath now, in and out, the whole size of you rising and falling, nothing measuring, nothing weighing, a heart at rest, in a body at rest, in a bed that was always big enough. Somewhere far off, the night is doing all its quiet work, turning the hours, holding the houses, keeping every sleeping thing exactly the size it is. You among them now, one of the held ones. The right size, all along. The night will go on without you now. It's good at that. The house will settle, the dark will keep the room, the small sounds will come and go, and none of it will need a single thing from the woman asleep in the middle of it. Tomorrow will arrive on its own schedule, and it can be an ordinary day. You don't owe tonight anything. No new way of being, no announcements, no different woman at breakfast. What became clear will keep quietly being clear underneath the ordinary days, the way ground stays level under everything built on it. You can walk on it without ever mentioning it. If sleep is close, go with it. There's nothing left ahead but softer versions of what you've already heard. If it isn't close yet, that's fine too. Lying here, seen and heavy and unweighed, is already rest. There's no pass or fail in this room. There never was. Some nights the body takes the rest and saves the sleep for later, and that counts. And no one is keeping score of your nights, least of all this one. Thoughts may still drift through. Let them drift. They're just the day, emptying its pockets. Nothing you have to hold. If sleep has you already, good. None of this needs remembering. And if you're still here, still listening, that's its own kind of rest, lying whole in the dark, no one to be smaller for, nothing running, nothing weighed. The bed holding you, the breath breathing itself, the dark, keeping watch so you don't have to. Whole and clear and heavy and held. Never too much. Not tonight, not ever. Just a heart the right size, finally resting. Rest now. Rest all the way down for as long as the night will have you. Rest here as long as you need. The story has done its work. You don't have to hold it. You can let it go the way you let a breath go, completely, without watching where it goes. Soul Signal will be here when you return. There are more stories waiting, more nights like this one. Until then, may you dream in light, may you wake in grace, and may you always know you are the signal.